All right, my people. Bring about the ship here. Good afternoon. There I am. Where I am. I'm over here today. It is Tuesday afternoon. My name is Mike Bifulco. I am technical director for the Gymnasium.com, the website you're seeing on this here browser page right now. Gymnasium is a free online code school. We offer courses on design, development, tools, technologies, strategies, methodologies, software, all kinds of goodness having to do with being a creative in the workforce today. You can go on our website at any point in time, 24/7, from just about anywhere in the world, and register to take our courses for free. They're all self-paced, they're all video-based, they're all taught by instructors who do what they're teaching for a living. So in other words, our UX instructors are UXers in their day job. They're not just teachers. Our courses are wonderful and fantastic, and you should go and take them. I live stream every week some of my work, some of the projects I'm working on, to show you what it's like to be me, what it's like to be learning on the job, and to sort of slow myself down from time to time. Causes me to have to make decisions a little more meticulously. And so, given that it's Tuesday afternoon and that is the time to do such a thing, that's what I'm here for. So let's do that. Step one, first step, let's talk about what we've been working. Actually, before I do that, I should mention that recently, last week, we had a great webinar with Dave Rupert and James Young about prototyping as process. It was a fantastic event. You can go and grab the recording for this on our site right now. Actually, not right now. When I'm done streaming, our header will switch back to what you see on my screen now. Currently, it's probably showing my silly face and broadcast talking at you. Which is less than ideal for this suggestion. But when I'm done streaming, the Gymnasium homepage will switch back to this header, and you can go and grab a recording. So we've been working on rebuilding Gymnasium's homepage using Gatsby, and that's what I'm here to do more of. And so let's do some of that. I did a bit of a short impromptu stream last week where I was working on setting up static pages for the site. Using our, it's a hard thing to explain, interim static pages using this Gatsby site to flow content into our current site. Didn't really find a great way to do that, and I still haven't. So for today's stream, at least, I'm going to abandon that. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on, we're going to continue work on some of the bits that we have in flight here. So you can see this doesn't look super great, but we've got a working, functioning footer, which links to our courses page, which has some courses on it. We're going to make this look a little prettier. It's going to match the courses page on Gymnasium's site. So I'll bring those two things closer together. We're going to work on this page. We're going to work on anything else that comes up. And one thing I did on stream today, for once before I got on the stream, was I got into my console and I ran, I can scroll up here somewhere. I ran the npm commands to update the package dependencies we have for the project. It's almost a no-effort step, but on stream it takes quite a bit longer because my machine is starved for RAM while I'm streaming, and that command takes up quite a bit of resources. So it's a 30-second step off stream and a 3-minute step on stream. So I figured I would save us some time. So let's press forward here. So we're going to talk about the structure of this thing. We're probably going to fill in some other courses, so some gym shorts and maybe another full course, so we can see this page in a little more of a real fleshed out version. We're also going to compare to what it should look like. We're going to create this right-hand column, which is, for the time being, will just be a placeholder. But we'll get that in place there, so you can kind of see right now this is fully full width, and we want it to be one and a half width. We're going to put in this content here, which we'll grab from our CMS, and start to plug in some of these other courses and get some of the styling in place, like these lovely orange bullets, the discs that we have there, and anything else that needs to be done. So it looks like there's some font sizing that needs to be adjusted, and maybe the shape of the button, font size on the button, etc., etc. We're going to make this all consistent with what we currently have, and hopefully be able to call this page done, so that we can move on to cleaning up the home page. So let me pull up my IDE and zoom in. and maybe that's a little too much. Let me get to that page. So if you recall, we have our pages set up here. We don't need that. We have our pages set up here. We have our coursesindex.js. In coursesindex.js, we have 3 course lists set up. One is the full courses, one is gym shorts, and one is take 5. What we're going to do, so there's 2 choices to be had here. Really, let me show you what I'm going to replicate first, is this bit of content here. The easiest thing to do is just to kind of go and copy this and put it in as a, I don't know, well actually we can look at what the semantic HTML we're using on the site is currently. It's probably better than a paragraph, which would be my first guess here. Maybe not, I don't really know. No, it is a paragraph. Paragraph class equals hero. You know what? If it's good enough for us currently, it's good enough for me now. So I could do this. Oops. Drop in. I might be zoomed in a little too much. I'm not getting a lot of functional space here. So we can put in a paragraph element, and the page will refresh, and we get this paragraph here, and that text is here. Ideally, we want to have this in the CMS so that if we end up updating this text, or if we want to update this text somewhere down the line, the rest of the team can do it without me having to deploy and commit code and all that other stuff. So let's talk about how we would do that. There's some strategy to be had here, some choices to be made on our CMS, but it really won't be too difficult. So I'm going to come over here. We have got so we've got our full course list here, which has our list of full courses. We've got our blog post list here, which has blog posts. Of course, we haven't really done too much with that apart from the initial setup we did. We've got authors, which will be authors of posts and courses and anything else that we find to be interesting. I should maybe put in my own picture and things like that one day. And then course types. We have a few different course types for Gymnasium. I think I've got this taxonomy incorrect at the moment. There's a display name and a color associated with certain course types. We might also eventually put in a description there. What I'm going to do is add another content type. This is where we already need to start making decisions. So this content type, I think I'm going to call micro copy, maybe, or just copy, page copy. I don't know. We want to have a content type for just these sorts of strings that appear across the site, so that someone who isn't me can go and update them in a way that's intuitive. And unfortunately, it's not super intuitive to go in and just say, like, this content type is called copy. And there's essentially make a dictionary of entries in here. It's not great. I don't know. Maybe it's functional enough. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna start with that. I mean, the good news is that this is very easy to change. But I'm gonna start with this. Strings used in various places throughout the site. So there will be multiple of these, and really what we want for this is we're going to do single line, and we're going to call it title. The title of this copy. We might not really even need that field, but it's nice to have perhaps for searching. And then we're going to put in a paragraph. I'm trying to decide if that'll be enough. Do we want a paragraph, or do we want something more complex than that? There's lots of little places for this across the site. You know what? Instead of a paragraph, we're going to use the more. How do I get rid of this? Paragraph. We're going to use what is probably a better choice for this, the block canvas. Single line canvas might be good too. No, we can support this because we're the ones making the decisions here. We can be smart about this. So body, we'll call this body. The body of this bit of site copy. Great. That of course will be required, and the title will be required. And so we're going to create this content type, And now in here, let's do a for example to see if this even makes the remotest bit of sense. So this would be something like we were going to do this full courses description. I should probably put a regular expression to disallow spaces in here. And really, this is it. That's all we need for a full courses description. Yeah, let's do this too. We don't really need updated date. Instead, it would be nice to have that. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sort of a metadata column here that'll only be really helpful on within the CMS here. Description. Where is this copy used? Description to help figure out where this string, this text appears on the site. There we go. So now I can come in here and say text that appears on courses catalog below the full courses header. And now in here I can add this description. And I should have that. That'll do. So we could do gym shorts description and text that appears on the course catalog to describe gym shorts. And we're gonna just copy these over from the old site. And I'll show you the benefit of using what is it called? This guy? I forget what this block is called. But basically what we could do in here if we really wanted to was add an image to the site seamlessly, or add an embed, or add a list. Hello world. We could have lots of interesting copy added rather than just a straight up string here. And there will be other things that go in here in time. Take 5 description. The summary of take 5, which appears on the course catalog below the take 5 title. And for this, we don't yet have copy. So put in a single space and hit go, and that should be good enough. Great. So now how do we use this? Well, if we open this up in our API Explorer, we could do micro copy list, get micro copy. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Locale is interesting. That's cool. Okay, well, we're going to have to figure out a way to query for these things, which might be Okay, so we're going to need to add a filter to this to be able to filter it by the title. And I think that is done by... Oh. I have to look this up. Oh, we have a problem. Okay, this is where my GraphQL is obviously a little rusty, so we're going to look up how we do a filter. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Search microcopy index might be what we want instead. I don't know that that's guaranteed to return 1, but we can try that. Terms is a string. Nope, that's not ideal either. Let's see. Well, it's close. We could use that. This is one way to do it. But I think the safer way to do this is to actually the best way to do this might be client side, where we would pull down all of the get microcopy list, where we essentially do this title and body HTML. We run this, and then on the client side, we search using Lodash or something like that to look for the title. I think that might be the approach I take for now. We might hone that. So let us, oh, sorry, Justin, I missed your chat before. Catalog, categories, descriptions. Do you remember what that was about? Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. Let's drop in a query for this, and we'll show how this would be used. So if I come to my courses page, I could put in microcopy and then that. I could do const micro copy equals data.take shape. This, you know what, actually that's not great. And I know already I'm going to be using this pattern quite a bit. So this should go into a util. Ah, okay. It's a type of microcopy. Catalog, categories, descriptions. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So we're going to make what's called a selector, which will import for each, import sum. Here's what we're going to do. Sum from Lodash. Const, we're going to do get microcopy, and we're going to do D, and then dictionary. Oops. Okay. This is going to be a function which takes an argument, an object that supplies an ID, and then a dictionary, and returns a string. So we're going to do, the ID would be the title, maybe. Maybe we'll call that title. Microcopy title. There we go. Okay. So we know that we're going to get back this dictionary in this form where we have an array of items, each with a title. What we're going to do is we're going to iterate over that. So we're going to say return, and we're going to do sum, which I'll explain in a second here, over the dictionary, microcopy dictionary. Then we're going to do microcopy entry, such that, there we go. Now, put a T there. Return microcopy entry dot title dot to lower equals microcopy title dot to lower. Okay, so first, if some error checking here. And then what this says is go through, iterate over everything in the dictionary, and for each entry, we're going to keep iterating until we find one where the title, the lowercase of the title, is equal to the lowercase of the supplied title here. Does that make sense? Just gonna make this clearer for myself. So we're going to simplify the syntax in a minute. What this is saying is I think that should work. So const found copy equals if, and then we're going to say return found copy or micro copy title. So this way, we'll do our best to return something. So if we find copy, we're going to say found copy.body HTML, because that's how it'll come in, or microcopy title. Lovely. Okay. Now we can simplify this a bit. Okay, this is confusing maybe. Yeah, I don't like that at all, actually. We're going to go back. Sometimes it's better to go with code that is more readable than clever. So let's leave ourselves some comments here. Iterate over the dictionary we got back until we find something that matches the input title. So that's saying make sure the titles match. When the titles match, it means we've found something. So we returned that .body HTML. And if we found nothing, we return microcopy title as fallback. So all right, so how do we use that? We're going to import star as, we have to export that. Star as micro, actually we can just do get microcopy from tills / microcopy tills. Great. Okay, so here is where we're going to use this. So remember, we added to the query to get the microcopy out of here. That's now being passed into the component as a prop. So we're going to say get microcopy, and then in here we're going to put ID of full courses title. And then we have to pass it in the dictionary. And that should do. And this will actually be microcopy.items. And with any luck, right, we have to stop this. Gatsby clean. And then start it again. The reason we had to do that is because we added content to take shape, and in order to query for it, we have to run the initial processes for Gatsby, which go and actually query take shape. Now we come back. Okay, so there's an error in my code. Oy. Title.toLower is not a function. Huh? Is it to lowercase? It is to lowercase. Of course it is. I will never remember that as long as I live because every language does it differently. Okay. Well, we got something back because maybe I didn't put the right ID in there. Full course's description. Of course I didn't. So that's cool. That's at least a somewhat helpful feature is that I rendered the ID that we put in, which shows me that the ID didn't return anything. Okay, what's going on there? Each child in the list should have a unique key prop. See render method of course list. Alright, well that's going to bother me. Oh my god. Little sidetrack while I clear up these issues. Skills don't have an ID, so we're just going to put in great. That should shut that up. Maybe. No. 73. Okay, no errors any longer, except we're not getting a description back. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to do, oops, if not found copy, we're going to issue a warning. Oh. You can provide environment variables to your site to customize its behavior. I want to know whether we are in production or development mode so that I can spit out a console warning in development mode. Ah, Gatsby active and process.env Gatsby active. Here we're going to do a console.warn. No dictionary entry found for ID Okay, so now I should get a little warning in my console saying that we didn't find this thing. Ooh, that's not true. Okay, we're going to give myself a little debugger here. Okay, apparently some might not work the way I think it does. Here's the thing. What I expect some to do is return me one object if it's found. Checks if predicate returns truthy for any element of collection. Iteration is stopped once predicate returns truthy. The predicate is invoked with 3 arguments. Returns true if any element passes predicate check, else false. Okay, so this is not what I wanted. Returns the new function. Okay. Maybe I just want filter. Find. Ah, it's find. Okay. Some is not what I wanted. So, now when I come back, if this is working, I'll get the thing. There we go. It did work. Okay. So we can take out the debugger line, and my code is in there now. Okay. So where did I just call that? Get microcopy. Course list, right. No? No, courses. Here is the trick. Get microcopy. Microcopy.items. Ah, okay. Cool. Actually, I think I have a better approach for this even. All right, we're going to make a new component. New folder, microcopy. In here, we're going to do a new file, index.js, export default as microcopy from Save that. We'll create our microcopy component. Import all of React, import GraphQL, oh boy, from Gatsby. We're going to do const microcopy equals title, like that. And then we're going to do export default microcopy and export query equals GraphQL. And here's what we're going to do. I am into this as an alternative. All right, so on our courses index.html, we're going to go and grab this, take shape query. We're going to put it in here and save it. Like so. Okay, so hopefully you can see what we're getting at here. We're going to be doing some more of this goodness. So we're going to create a component that searches for the microcopy we need and returns it. So actually we're going to end up getting rid of this, but we'll move this function, we'll move all this stuff into here. So we need Lodash's find. We're going to have this nice get microcopy helper function. Right over the dictionary, we got back until we find something that matches the input title. Yeah, okay, so, and here, and that's it. That should do it. So now, in my courses, I can, oh, and one more thing I have to do. Here. All right. So in here, in here, when I'm grabbing components, I can grab some micro copy, and instead of doing this, I say micro copy title equals full courses description, and that's it. And it will go and do the rest. And I also no longer need to query for this here and here. And it should achieve much of the same. Oops. That should be title, title, title. Microcopy.js. What is the problem here? Cannot read property items of undefined. Yeah, okay, we got to recompile here to run that static query. Okay. I see what I did. This should not be GraphQL, but it should be a static query. Okay. Static query equals, we're going to grab this guy, making a mess here, y'all. All right, maybe that'll do it. I think I'll probably need to restart the thing though. Oh, no, that's not gonna work. Okay. this stuff has to go in here. Boy, that's gross. Don't like that syntax much. Is it working? Something seems to be incorrect. Cannot read property to lowercase of undefined. Okay. Data, take shape. What the heck, man? What? Why is it returning everything? Oh, I forgot items somewhere, didn't I? Cool, cool. Get rid of that. Save it. The tangled web we weave. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think this part of the stream today would take this much time at all. It's a relatively complicated thing to do, though. I get that now. Did it work? Heck, yes it worked. Look at that. That came from our CMS. So, now all I have to do on a given page to include microcopy is this. We can dress this up in the future by giving it a thing to wrap, like a component to wrap it in. And actually, maybe we want to do that now. So the Material UI library is one place where I've seen this happen. They have certain components that render and give you the option of what to wrap stuff with. So the reason I'm going down this rabbit hole is that really we want to wrap this bit of microcopy that we just did in a paragraph tag. And we have it wrapped in a div inside of a paragraph right now, which is not super great. So, right, like we're always putting a div here, and we might not actually want to do that. So, oh, come on. There we go. So, the component API here, wondering what would do this. Maybe like something texty here. Maybe like a label. Children, classes disabled. No. How about text field, toolbar, tooltip, a paper, component. Here we go. Component equals div. So what I want to see is how that's implemented, because I don't really know how you do that. So this says we pass in a type of component, either use a string to use a DOM element or use a component. So we're going to go to the GitHub repo and we're going to find how they implement paper and do it ourselves. So we're going to go into modules, maybe? Nope. Packages, let's try that. Material UI, source, and under here we should find paper, and then here, ooh, they're type scripted. Wow, oh, that's super cool. Okay. That's far too easy. Props.element type. Nice. Okay. Type. I did not know that was a thing. So this is saying we should get and I'll even put in a little note here, stolen from these guys. We will come up here. And we're going to drop exactly that in. And here, we're going to say component. That's super freaking cool. So if that didn't crash this page, which it doesn't look like it did, I should be able to now come into this page here and say component equals P. Well, first let's take a look here. Before I save that, if I look at this, we will have a paragraph with a div inside of it. Div with a paragraph inside of it? Paragraph with a div inside of it? What's going on here? I'm actually a little confused by that. Oh yeah, paragraph. I might have already saved it. Yes, I did already save it. Cool. Okay. Let's prove this out another way then. So if I save and this page loads again. No, actually I can tell you what was happening even more so. Anyway, now we have this paragraph, which has a paragraph within it, which is, I believe, acceptable markup, and that's because the that paragraph is rendered within our microcopy, so we might not even need to do that. We can just say react.fragment. Does that work? I don't think that'll work. Holy hell, did that work? No, that didn't work at all. Okay. So we're going to have to provide a default component to wrap this thing in. And by default, we're going to use a div. That's going to be the way it is. But if something else is specified, we'll use a paragraph. I think that's as good as we're going to get on this, because I don't know of a better way to render, like to jam markup in there. Yeah, I think that's okay. And so let's prove this out a little further. So if I put li here, that probably won't look right. But then if I come back and re-render the page, however slowly, what's going on? What did I break? I broke everything. Uh-oh. Wonder if my connection hiccuped or something. What the hell did I do? What are we getting at here? I don't know what it's complaining about. Did I rename take shape down here? No, why would it be doing that? Courses page. Is that this page? Courses page. Data. Courses equals data.takeshape. You cannot read property take shape of undefined. So for some reason, data is coming in as undefined now. Tell you what, let's give it a good kick. Okay, now it's running. And you can see, because I provided an LI here, that LI now has a paragraph within it. Not great, but that's because we don't want an LI here. We probably want a div. And actually, if we don't need a div, we don't need to provide it. You can come back while this thing is really crawling. And now we just have our nice little div with a P within it and all the other bits. And if there were images, etc., all that stuff would be included as needed. Wonderful. Okay, so that was a long detour. Not really a detour. It was productive. I just didn't think that would be that difficult. And now I can do this and make sure I've got all these titles right. Actually, I should probably intentionally get one wrong to show off that little bit of code I put in. Okay. Apparently empty ones don't have body HTML. Wait, well, then why would... Okay. Okay, so we've got our full courses description, our gym shorts description, and our take 5 courses description, which doesn't exist, which is not exactly what I was intending to show, but yeah, look at that. So I had the wrong title, and so it just returns the title, which is a little bit of a useful hint for me. There's probably also a warning in the console here. No, I thought there would be. Oh, does that show up in here? What the heck? Okay, apparently this is not how we get the environment. Hey, Dr. Strange. Gatsby is a React-based static site generator. You can check it out at gatsbyjs.org. That's what we are rebuilding our site with. In theory, I should have just gotten my warning here. I see. Hey, thanks for following me. All right. So that cleared that up. So now I've got a nice little console warning that happens when these things happen. In case that microcopy is embedded somewhere deep on this page where I happen to miss it, at the very least, I can hope to see this here, which is nice. That's cool. We'll take that. It also will return just the title. And so in this case, I could change this to take 5 description, and in theory, it'll come back with that content. In this case, the content is nothing, but that's working exactly as expected. That's really cool. I'm super on board with that. It's nice and declarative. We could provide some advanced functionality to that if we really wanted to, but that accomplishes its entire task of being a little bit of markup to add as much content as we want. Yeah, I dig that. That's great. Okay, let's see. So we're going to do some restructuring of what's going on here, because I can already see some problems coming through here. Full courses is data take shape, and this is going to be full courses.items. We're going to do, we have to add other content types to be able to query. That's okay. First and foremost, I want to make sure I didn't break anything. Oh, I changed the query. Oh no, it works still. Okay, cool. So let's commit some code here. We made a lot of changes just now, and we can clean this up. I'm glad that pattern seems to work. I don't know if there might be performance issues down the line, but one of the nice things about Gatsby is the performance issues, the implications really just have to do with the build time, and the actual rendered site shouldn't have any problem. We no longer need this microcopy utils guy, so we can get rid of that. We're not using it anywhere. Okay, so that's gone. We have courses index.js. Well, we'll add the microcopy component first. Use microcopy on courses catalog page. Do that, and then we're going to, these are both rendered arrays need keys. Okay, great. So one other thing we can do is look at this full courses page, which doesn't have its microcopy set yet. So sometimes, yeah. There we go. So one of the nice things about VS Code that I found recently is if you start to type something in and it finds it, it'll automatically add it to your include. So this just got added up there. And I can grab this title from here. I can pop that there, put a slash in it, and close that off, and now the full courses page will have this same thing. Okay, so briefly, let's talk over what we've just accomplished. This pattern that we just kind of created is on our site. We have this content type called microcopy, which is content that can appear anywhere on the page. Anywhere on the site. Each of these bits of content, maybe we'll do a new one just to show. You know what? On our home page, we've got some microcopy that appears. So let's do that. We'll grab this just as a silly example. So to add this content to the CMS, we would do something like this. We would come into the CMS, we would say new microcopy. We'll give it a title of home page view courses prompt. This text appears on the home page above the view all courses button. And the body is just going to be that. And it looks like it's bold, so we can leave that as bold for now. We might change that in the future. No big deal. We now have that copy saved. As long as the title is unique. Actually, I wonder if there's a way to ensure a unique field. No. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. For now, we just created this guy. Now, if I wanted to add this to the site, first thing I should do is go and reset this with a Gatsby clean to clear my cache and run start, and then go to my home page on source pages index.js. And here we're going to, below the featured courses, we will put a new row and a column and a micro copy title equals this. Oops, title equals this guy. That's not working. Give me that. Thank you. Okay. And then below it, we can put a button and then close the column, save it, and we need a micro copy button. Did I call the button Gym button? I don't really recall. I did. And what does it actually say on the button? View all courses. View all capital courses. Great. Okay. And now, if I come back here and I hit home, we may have... Oh, this I went to the wrong home page. If we go to the home page on this, we should have a bit of microcopy included. No. No. Microcopy is not defined. Button is not defined. Gym button has already been declared. Oh, pulled it in twice. And there we go. Look at that. So this is coming from our CMS. This is a button that we could then use as normal. So we can give that button events and all that other stuff. And we're essentially, now we've got a machine to include content from the CMS of arbitrary size and shape using just an identifier that we have determined. ourselves. That's cool. And to be honest, that title doesn't have to be a hyphenated thing, but this is kind of just, I don't know, an adopted standard that I sort of chose arbitrarily. So, all that being said, let's commit this. Add micro copy to home page. I'm going to commit that. I'm going to push this. And I guess off camera, I will get that into a pull request and get it out to the site. And I'm going to end my stream here for the day. I have an appointment shortly after 3 that I got to run off to. So I'm going to go and do that. But thanks for hanging out today. Like I said, this was something that took more effort than I thought it would, but I really like where we ended up with this. It will accomplish a lot of things that should be really useful for us in the future as we start to fill in like really kind of all of these little bits and pieces. We could accomplish something like that here. These could be their own content type, really. Like there's lots of little places where we can do that. Sort of copy inclusion. We can also add more. There's lots of copy that we include on our static pages and sidebars and this and that, which might be improved upon quite a bit in this new feature. Let's see. Let me check the chat here. Dr. Strange, VS is so heavy compared to Eclipse or NetBeans. You, no offense, sound like a Java developer, and that's not a bad thing. I'm using VS Code and not full-on Visual Studio. Which can be pretty light if you don't use any extensions. And even with a bunch of extensions, this is a pretty lickety-split IDE for me. I'd encourage you to give it a shot, but if you really love Eclipse or NetBeans, more power to you. I haven't tried either of those in quite a long time, but you got to use whatever tools make the most sense to you. Yeah, anyway, I'll be back this time next week, 1:30 to 3 Eastern. Generally Tuesday afternoons I'm around. Sometimes I do it other days in the week, but I try and stick to my Tuesday schedule. If you need to find me in the meantime, I'm on Twitter at IrreverentMike or on Twitch at IrreverentMike, and you can always get to us at thegymnasium.com. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you guys next week. Adios.